Alright guys, so here's the video that I was discussing, which is going to be a follow-up. I installed this Phoenix radio about a week ago. Have quite a bit of issues initially getting it started, and still have some technical issues with it, and not really getting very far. So what I'm going to do is basically start with all the bad and all the issues I've been having, go into a little bit of the good and why I like it, and then give you my overview of whether or not I think I'm going to keep this radio or not. So, starting off, if you can see in the picture, we have a GMC Terrain. For starters, this was purchased for a Yukon, which it says for Yukon, Avalanche, Tahoe, Suburban, and they don't even make a radio for GMC Terrain. Trying to figure out how to get that changed, and not really getting very far. Now I know that there are some settings to mess around with. I was able to change the boot up screen, which you can just download your own picture and do that, but this one for some reason seems to be a problem. That's the first little issue. Next issue I have with the unit is that it's not a big problem, I guess, but so on this Yukon XL, in the back I have rear audio controls, and if you hit the power button on that, and I will show you now, I don't know why I was doing it, but I was just checking to see if the controls worked, the unit shuts off. Don't know why. Maybe it's got something to do with it, but it could be an issue for somebody that doesn't know about it, and if somebody's messing around with the controls on the back. I don't believe, I guess you tap it, comes back on. Don't know about that. Don't know if it's something that can be changed or disconnected, but neat little, not neat, but something you should know if you get this unit and it all of a sudden goes off. One of the other things I'm trying to do is, when downloading, I've downloaded Pandora and Amazon Music and Sirius and so forth, is trying to figure out if I can get that icon up here, because the problem is the unit right now, this would be like the boot screen, so I can go to this on the top right corner, which will show anything that was opened that you want to go into, right? A little bit of a pain to do that, but I'd like to be able to get it up on this menu. If you're using Pandora and stuff like that, you really don't need some of these, but I don't, video, Bluetooth, haven't really messed around with any of this other stuff. DVR, I don't even know what that is. And you're going to see there's going to be a lot of I don't know, and that's going to lead to the last part of the issues list of where I have a problem with this particular unit. So that's the one thing, is trying to figure out if we are able to customize this this top quick launch. The other thing is the volume. At volume 1, I'm not going to turn it on right now, but at volume 1 is extremely loud. You can't have a conversation with somebody at all. It's very loud. Now, I did find a way to change it, is by going into settings, going to more settings, which goes into the actual tablet, and you can change the volume here. Everything's at 100%. It automatically boots at 100, and you can change the media volume. Problem is, once you shut the unit off or shut the car off, put it back on, it goes back to 100. So I guess on a long drive, it's not the end of the world if I have to go in here and change it, but I'm not going to do that every time I get in and out the vehicle. Which also leads to the next issue. When you are playing Pandora, even when a song is starting out and in between from one song to another, there is a staticky hissing noise, almost like the volume is very, very high and you don't have anything playing, which is, and I thought it would go away if I change this, but when I lower this volume you can still hear it. A little bit annoying, but when the music is playing you don't really hear it, but at the end that hissing is still there, so in my opinion it affects the quality of the music. And let's see, what else do we have? And you'll listen to this. This is the turn signal. Imagine hearing that all day. Not only that, but if I hit the quick turn signal, typically it flashes like 3 or 4 times. This thing beeps almost double that. So the signal could be off and it's still beeping. I cannot figure out how to get that lower at all, and it's extremely annoying. While we're on the sounds, let me see if I can put it in reverse, and there's another one that's just as bad. Nope, not going to do it. So if I get in the vehicle and go in reverse, it sounds like a backup alarm. It is just as loud as that. There was a way to shut that off in the settings, which you're probably going to have to go to. So I went to settings, general, system settings, and then there was a parking sound. So if you turn this sound, let me think for a second. If you turn this on, it just does the parking sound like if you're getting too close to something, which is just as loud. If you turn warning sound on, which I think it's default to on, that's when you get the backup noise. I don't know why it's playing inside the vehicle, but it does. Some of these other settings, the auto run navi and the local run navi, there was I think the settings sometimes are a little bit different. You probably don't want auto run. It means anytime you turn the unit on, that's going to come on. And local navi, if this is set to on, when you hit the button at the top navigation, the navigation won't work. You'd have to actually go into it through the apps. And again, about the apps, anything you download, you click app list, and it's all here. A couple things I don't like about it is that you'll see some of the stuff you want, and then it automatically goes into alphabetical order. So if you click on one that's here, and it hasn't put itself in alphabetical order yet, it won't open, and you might open up something you don't want to open. So in order to get down, you have to scroll and try to figure that out. Not thrilled with that, because primarily I'm going to only be using Pandora for music. Some of these other things I'm not really going to go into that much. Also, I tried downloading Google Assistant in conjunction with Google Chrome, which I believe maybe I need to install that. That doesn't seem to work when you say the Google term. I'm not going to say it because then my phone's going to do it and then the video is going to get cut short. So I'm still messing around with that. I'd like to get that feature to work. Works well on my phone. Worked well when in the previous radio when I had it hooked up with Android Auto. Steering controls. Retains some of them. Retains the volume, retains the up and down or next or what have you. It seems to have the up and down reversed. Not a big deal. But as far as the other options that are here, Source works, but Source will not go into an app. So Source will not pull up Amazon Music or Pandora. It's only going to pick up your radio, your music, and your Bluetooth audio. And then there's another button which I believe was play, pause, and then there was another one for your voice, which would be Google Assistant. And that button worked in my Android Auto. Where I hit that, Google Assistant popped up. They have settings in here which they claim you can go ahead and do your steering wheel controls. Yeah, it doesn't work. I haven't really messed around with it too much, but I've done it a little bit and it doesn't work. It says pick the button you want to set, which this is not a GMC or a Chevy steering wheel, so not really sure what some of these buttons do. But I did try repairing some things and trying to get the hang up and answer. Didn't work. After speaking about the answering part, let's go into the phone. The Bluetooth option using the phone or the mic that's installed, horrible. Not even worth using. I mean, it's terrible. So not sure if there's an option of adding an external mic. Possibly that would be a better option, but it's unusable, unfortunately. Could be just my issue, but it's unusable. So I haven't really messed around with that. In fact, when I have it hooked up to Bluetooth, it's just going to it doesn't have the phone option selected. let's see. So what else do we have? We got a little bit of a big list here, and I'm not the only one apparently having these issues. Okay, so haven't been able to get it to reproduce exactly, but on occasion, if you're playing Pandora through the app and you go into either Explorer, which would be your web browser, or navigation, or really anything else other than music, it'll actually stop the app from playing, which then you'd have to come out of that app, go back into Pandora, press play again, and then go back if that's what you want to do, and it's something that you're going to be messing around with for a little while. But don't know if that's a setting thing. I mean, it is an app, but Explorer and navigation aren't audio playing apps, so they shouldn't really be shutting off audio. If I play Pandora on my phone, I can go into other apps and so forth. Unless I go into Amazon Music, well, then it's going to shut off. So that's another little bit of a hiccup. Screen brightness. Right now it's dark out. Also, my windows are pretty dark. Brightness is okay when it's dark out. In the sunlight and me having tinted windows, it's not that bright. You have the brightness option here, which at nighttime you can click that. It'll lower the brightness and you can gradually go up. But this is its top brightness right here. Try to go into settings in the tablet. Sometimes there's an option to adjust that. Didn't see anything. You know, some of the things are locked out or you're not able to adjust. But if I go into display, it doesn't give me the option for brightness, which it should. Now, one of the other things I learned was while you're in this map, there's no back button. So you have to swipe from the left, brings back your menu. I don't know why that is shut off, but when you go into display, those are the only options. So add it to the list. Let's see, what else do we have? I think, oh yeah, the audio app's hissing, so I went over that. It's that hissing sound. I don't know if I can, let me see if I can recreate it without playing music, because YouTube doesn't like music and then it'll block the audio. Now as far as the boot goes, it's acceptable. It's not big a deal. So let's, okay, so now I have it paused and you can hear the hiss. Let me just see. Ooh. You can hear that hiss. So that hiss will stay on for a few seconds, but if you're going from this song to another song, it stays on for the most part until that happens. So now if you start buffering or it doesn't play the song right away, it will shut off, but throughout the playing of the song, you're going to hear that hissing sound. So any low parts of the music, you're going to hear that. You don't notice it in radio, but who's going to listen to the radio? It kind of sucks reception. Haven't tried it with Bluetooth audio, but let's go take a look. Let me see if we can blow the music because it's very loud. So this is some preloaded songs that were in here. Let's see. Don't know where they came up with the songs. So I don't hear the hissing there. So it might just be an app thing, but probably a setting. So overall, you got a lot of issues that I went over. Number one problem with them is I'm SOL on my own. I've contacted Phoenix support numerous times. I get the yes you to death, somebody's going to call you, we'll call you today. They don't. I call back the next day, try to follow up. Oh, I'm sorry, they're busy, they'll call you back. I'm speaking to a different person, they don't know anything about it because they only handle Facebook, and then this other person handles the WhatsApp app, and then this other person handles email. So nobody talks to anybody, nobody knew anything that's going on, and I've actually initiated a dispute with a firm who is how I purchased the radio. I did that financing option. So it's good to know that at least they're on your side a little bit, because you know you're paying them, they're paying Phoenix. I've just started the process to initiate just because I don't want to wait till last minute, because I'm still not sure what I'm doing here. You know, I like the unit, but you know, you can't get any support. So my concern is you don't get any support. For the lack of a better term, they jerk you around, and I have obvious issues here which I think are fixable, but these guys don't know what they're doing. I've already explained it to a couple people in Phoenix, and oh, somebody will call you back, somebody will call you back. And you know why? Because they're emailing probably somebody in China to get back to them to let them know, and they probably don't even know what they're trying to explain. What I'm gathering is that Phoenix is actually just a reseller of a product that they may or may not have had any dealings with, don't really know anything about, and are just going by the seat of their pants. They're dealing with issues as they come. I am not the only one that's having these issues, but there's a reason I'm doing these videos, because videos didn't exist of the full install start to finish, and the follow-up or overview videos weren't really that in depth. It was just say I push some buttons here and there. But these are real world issues. Some of the other issues I guess they're having is some plugs matching up, and the installation instructions that you get with this are non-existent. There are none. I had to email Phoenix, and in the beginning they were very they were responding very quickly and pretty helpful, until I actually had an issue. But the link that they send you for Dropbox, my 5-year-old son could have written better instructions. It's so confusing, so that's why I kind of went through a full start to finish video, and I'm hoping that helps out anybody else that's doing these. I know that there is a gentleman on one of the groups who has